Hi, good morning, everyone. Glad to be back and glad to be starting back this series. As you all might be aware that we have gone live with the 1 minute delayed data. Basically, all the scanners earlier were at a 5 minute delayed snapshot. Now we have moved it to 1 minute. So all this while, actually, I was away because of that only. We were doing rigorous testing and checking if all the results are right or not, and we were improving some of the features as well. So that's where it has taken us some bit of time, and so yeah, basically, from now onwards it would be regular. Actually, on Thursday I'm not there, but basically from next week onwards I'll be regular. So we would be doing it today, and then after that we'll be doing it on Friday, and after that from Monday onwards it would be a regular phenomena. So let me quickly share my screen and let's get started. Uh, if you're able to see my screen and if you're able to hear me, just please put a comment so that I would know that you all are able to hear me, because in the past there have been many accidents like that. Okay, great. Thanks for the confirmation. So, uh, yeah, I mean, Nifty index, it is at a very crucial juncture. So, all this while when we were in this decline, the view was that at some point of time a pullback will come, and in the pullback, basically, this was the level that I was watching very closely, 25,250. Okay, so far we have not breached that, and now the fears are whether this was just a temporary pullback. Basically, is this a temporary pullback and are we gonna fall? I mean, that is the fear. So let us look at few things. To be very honest, I don't have the answer at this point of time, but there are few things that I'm watching very closely. So just to give you a context of uh, why we are at an important point is because if you see the 61.8% retracement of the entire decline, okay, that is where exactly the Nifty index has retraced. Okay, and basically we all know that in terms of price action, 25,250 is a very important resistance level, right, which is over here, 25,255 to be very precise. So this is like a major resistance zone in the near term now, right, which is this. And on the downside, okay, the gap zone which is there over here, this is an important support zone. Okay, so I feel that breaking out from either side of this range, on the upside or on the downside, is likely to give us a very trending move. Okay, because please understand the context what is happening. Okay, we we all know that this can be a potential head and shoulders pattern if at all we end up seeing a breakdown. Okay, so if the Nifty index closes below the gap zone, that is where then the risk will emerge that this low will be tested. And if this low has to be tested, then I think there will be further more room on the downside as well, in which case basically this HNS will get activated, and then there will be fear of a correction probably till 24,000 or something like that. And basically Nifty had seen somewhat a double bottom breakout over here. So then there is a risk of this neckline getting retested, which is basically somewhere around 23,869, right? So that is the kind of risk that will open up. I'll tell you why this. I mean, why we are at a very very crucial juncture. That is because. So wait, let me first remove this. So as I mentioned, basically 25,250 zone to 25,160 zone on the upside, that is the near term resistance. And on the downside, this gap zone is an important support. Now, even right now, if we see, okay, Nifty has come back to the lower end of the range on the hourly chart, and it is trying to make a comeback. Okay, and I'm not sure, many of, I don't know like how many of y'all would have observed this, but this is like a very small HNS pattern which has developed on the hourly chart, for which we have already given a breakdown. Okay, so now is it that we will retest this and again fall, or uh, is it that this gap zone is going to act as a support? Eventually this will turn out to be a false breakout and then we'll move higher. I'm not too sure. So that is why I said that at this point of time I'm not too sure. And the reason why I think this can also happen, provided this gap zone is held, is because if we see the swing indicator, that is the daily swing, okay, that is almost at 25 levels. In fact, in the morning it had even dropped to, I think, 21, 22 sort of levels. Okay, so that is why it is of importance. And also, why I feel that we are at a make or break zone is because if you see that when we were in an uptrend, right, when we were in the uptrend, this oversold zone acted as a short term bottom and we rallied after that, right? Similar thing happened over here. But this was probably the first time where oversold readings did not work. Matlab, there was a pullback, a bit of a pullback, but then again it kept falling, 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 right? And eventually there was a bit of divergence, and then eventually we rallied. But the point is that when on the oversold readings bottoms are not made, this could also be a sign that it can be a prolonged correction as well. Like you see over here, basically oversold zone. See, oversold zone, some pullback, and then again a decline. Then again here we got oversold, some pullback, and then again a decline. So now the point is that are we getting into this phase or are we in this phase? Is now very crucial to understand. So if we are in a bull run, okay, that means if we are going to go higher, then ideally this will bottom out over here. At the same time, maybe worst case this gap zone gets filled and then we start rising higher. But if the gap zone is broken decisively, what may still happen is that this might go to, say, in single digit or something. Then we might end up getting some pullback, okay, and then we might keep falling. I mean, if it has to translate into a bear market correction, or basically this was just a pullback and then we are heading lower, then this is how the pattern will be. So that's why, as I mentioned, like next few days will be very critical to watch. And also, I mean, FI's positioning has gone dead. I mean, in this pullback, basically they have not covered. So how do we interpret it? I mean, are they confident that it is gonna fall and that is why they are not covering, or is it that they are waiting for some level to be breached? To my mind, basically this is the zone that is like a make or break, because once this zone breaks, I mean, there are no real resistance after that until this high, right? So I think that if this resistance zone is broken on the upside, then eventually we might end up seeing a big short covering rally. And I think all this minus 170 lakh contract which is there, 1 lakh 70, this might all get into positive and in fact even go towards the other end, and which can lead to, say, a multi-week or a multi-month kind of up move as well. So that's why I feel that 25 160 to 25 250, that is like a make or break zone. Okay, if that is taken out on the upside, we are headed higher, because lot of indicators are suggesting skepticism or bearishness. But if we are not able to do that, okay, and we end up filling this gap and closing below that, then there is a risk of a move probably towards 24,000 as well. So we are at that point where we should be getting some direction, either on the upside or on the downside. So that's why I feel that next 4 to 5 trading sessions will be very important. And apart from that, there will be an expiry on 28th. So that's where we'll get some clue as well as to what the FI's positioning is. How, I mean, have they covered their short positions or no, and or have they added more? all those things we'll get to understand. Also, the percentage long position that has been depressed for a very very long time. I mean, we have seen some bit of uptick to 13,000, but we need to see that more in order to see good move on the upside. Okay, so that is on the Nifty index. As I mentioned, we need to see whether this gap zone is broken on the downside or no. And on the flip side, we need the resistance zone of 25,250 to 25,160 broken on the upside. And also this time as well, swing has worked beautifully well. That is because at this high, okay, at this high, both the indicators were in the overbought zone. Okay, so this was giving us an indication that a pullback can happen. Now, whether this pullback just ends up becoming a consolidation or a part of a bigger correction, that is what we need to figure out in the forthcoming trading sessions. Now, because I said that this can go either ways, right? So that's why I was trying to find and scan the stocks, like which are the weak ones and which are the strong ones. Okay, so over here in the scanners, if we see, I mean, what I did was that, now you all know the importance of 40-day exponential average, right? Like you saw over here, when the 40-day was holding, it was rising higher. When the 40-day was not holding, okay, it was more or less falling. So I was trying to find, or I was trying to scan the stocks based on the moving average. That, see, basically we have made a bottom over here, right? That is on 8th of August. So in the look back period, technical scanner, exponential moving average, okay, the look back that I had done was that 8th of August. So which are the list of stocks that are below the 40-day exponential average, okay, since August 8, which means that basically sorry, so in this pullback that we have seen in the Nifty index, okay, despite this big pullback, they have not been able to break above the 40-day exponential average. So those are the list that we see over here. Those are basically 77 stocks, and it is basically wide number of stocks that we are seeing. That in some of them there are IT stocks as well, because they have been falling relentlessly. So I'll speak about some sectors also that are interesting, or the ones which are bad. Specifically, where I am a little more concerned is all the capital market plays. Okay, because most of them, they are halting at some important retracement level. Like you see over here, 50% retracement. This was a gap down. Gap is just getting filled, and there is a risk of a correction now. You see RMI also over here, they have gone back to zero, and now they're slightly turning around. So I mean, this is one space I am a little scared of. CDSL as well, because they have seen a relentless up move without any major corrections, right? So CDSL is another one. Then I think it's DVs, DLF. In fact, even real estate stocks, I mean, real estate sector, if you see, that has not done well as well. And in the pullback, you know, it has not really participated at all. Okay. And even if you see reality sector on RRG as well, it has formed a very big tail. So you can see the reality sector. Okay. Improving. Sorry, it's in weakening. So reality, you can see the big tail that it has covered. That means this is a very sharp underperformance as well as momentum falling. When such sharp tails are there, most likely they end up entering into the lagging quadrant. And if that is the case, that means that they are gonna relatively underperform the Nifty index. And if Nifty index itself will be weak, then this might end up becoming much more weaker. So that is where there is some risk over there as well. If you see even the bank nifty index, I mean, bank nifty index has not participated at all. In fact, as you see that nifty index is above the 8th August high, basically, it has rallied, but nifty bank has not even done that. And in fact, what it did was that there was a resistance around the daily averages and it has fallen. So in that sense, it is a lot more weaker. And now bank nifty is approaching an important support level, which is of this gap zone. Okay, this is the gap zone. It is almost there. If this gap zone is broken on the downside, it will become extremely weak, and that's where we need to be a little careful. I mean, some might also argue that can't we take this as an HNS, this as an HNS breakdown? Yes, it is very much possible. And more importantly, what is happening is that the daily averages are not getting broken on the upside. And that's where you need to be a lot more careful. Now, from the previous update, there are few things that I wanted to share. I think, we had talked about this Nifty Auto. It was consolidating sideways. Eventually it has managed to break out on the upside with a very good gap. Now what might happen is that because there was this up move, there will be a bit of consolidation, but this is one index that is sort of looking up from a medium term perspective as well, because it has broken all the retracement levels, all the key important resistance level on the upside as well. So I think slowly and gradually it should be making its move on the higher side. I think we had spoken about Nifty FMCG. That is one index that has not done anything so far. Okay, it is just consolidating sideways, just like the way autos were consolidating. So at some point I feel that this is like an inverse HNS pattern that is developing. So maybe at some point we should be able to get a breakout from this pattern, and that should lead to a good move on the upside at some point. Nifty IT, this was one sector that I mentioned where there is a lot of short positions which is there. Okay, this seems to be looking up as well, because there are some signs of life. As you can see that 40-day exponential got broken on the upside, and it, and basically now sustaining above that will be important. Just to give you a context, this pullback was basically 61.8% retracement of the previous up move, right? So it has retraced 61.8%, and now it is trying to move on the upside. So the first hurdle was basically the 40-hour exponential average, which it has broken in Friday's trading session. Now the next key level, if it breaks above the 40, would be the 61.8% retracement level of the decline. Okay, so which is like 37 572, which is still like 2-3% away from the current level. If that is broken on the upside, I would tend to think that basically this might end up becoming some sort of channel, and then the expectation would be that it will move higher towards the upper end of the channel if the 61.8% is broken on the upside. Okay, this was one. Other than that, if you see cement sector, they have been holding out pretty well. We also had spoken about the agro stocks. Agro stocks, they have seen a decent correction, and I think if at all the Nifty index falls, then watching out agro stocks will be important, whether they are holding out their important weekly or monthly averages or not. And if those hold out, then these can become an interesting sector. So we'll speak about it at the relevant time. But I just thought of recapping all the things that we had discussed, and there are couple of more things finally that I am watching. As I mentioned to you, that Nifty IT, we have seen some bounce in few stocks. We have seen some bit of short covering that has started to happen. We need to monitor this, how this unfolds. But in fee, there was some short covering. Wipro, there has been some short covering. Okay, Tech Mahindra, in fact, short covering had happened earlier only, and right now it has gone sideways. So, but this is also one place where a lot of shorting had happened in this decline. Then I think HCL Tech, this has not seen that bit of unwinding. I mean, there was some pullback or some unwinding over here, but again, there has been a little bit of shorting. So over here also, if you see, basically it would be around 61.8 only. Yeah. So if you see over here, around 61.8%, it has been consolidating sideways. So need to see whether it moves up or no. TCS. So I'm just checking the large cap ones. So TCS, if you see, I mean, there has been some short covering basically in this pullback, minor. But again, now what is happening is that today, okay, we are seeing some bit of built up on the long side as well. So we need to see how it plays out during the day, whether it is up or down, and what the built up is. But if at all it starts building long as well from here, so then there will be like a tug of war between the bulls and the bears. And if some important levels get broken on the upside, then we might even end up seeing TCS going for a short covering. So basically, if you see TCS, let's analyze the chart, because I saw that, yeah. So it is at the 40-day exponential average, which has been resisting for a while. I think once this is broken on the upside and we start sustaining above that, then there can be some scope of a meaningful short covering as well. Because even weekly might end up getting into a bullish mode, and if the 40-day is broken on the upside, and the Nifty and the TCS sustains above that, then weekly it has the potential probably to go towards the 20 week or the 40 week as well. And that is something that can trigger a good short covering rally. So yes, basically these are all the things that basically we are seeing. And these are the observations at this point of time. Now if you'll have any questions, we can open up. And this is just to let you know once again that probably on Thursday I'll not be there. On Friday we will do it, and from Monday onwards this would be a regular one. Okay. So hopefully all the system things that were there, more or less it is resolved. In the next few weeks, we would try to fix all the bugs that might have occurred unintentionally due to the deployment. And once that is done, we'll start rolling out new features. And many of you all have been waiting for you all have been waiting for the fundamental and the advanced valuation scanner. So those all things we will start rolling out post October. Okay. So thanks a lot for being with us. We had some difficult and rough patch as well, but now, with greater confidence, I can say that our system is stabilizing. It might just take couple of weeks more to fix all the existing bugs. And once that is done, we'll work on experience, and we'll work on, finding out. We'll work on, improving the experience, and we'll work on rolling out new features as well. So अतुल says कि once 1 year के लिए ऑफर निकालो. I think we are 5600. If you see 5600 divided by 12, so that is 450 460 rupees a month. I'm sure this won't pinch your pocket, given the value add that we give over here. So yeah, few weeks back, earlier spotted Shri Digvijay Cement. Yes, yes, you're right. I mean, basically, there was a monthly bullish crossover that was happening. So this we had spotted when uh, uh, the cement sector was doing well. So yes, thanks for remembering and letting us know. Can we check Titan as well? Okay. So ideally, if there are more questions on concept, that is where I can help you all out. But please avoid talking on stocks because we have restrictions regarding the stocks. So if we see Titan, it seems to be in some sort of range, I believe. Let me just try and draw channels if it makes sense. So this is where broadly we are in Titan, right? It seems to be forming some kind of flag on the upside. I would suspect that 3730, like the previous high which was there. I mean, that will now be an important resistance level. Maybe if that breaks on the upside, it can get interesting. That is also because the indicator has given this bullish signal last week only. So need to see if we see that follow through based on the price action as well. So as I mentioned earlier, indicators give you those early hint. It is the price action that needs to confirm. And I think if that price action also confirms, then you might end up seeing this the way this weekly move played out. We might end up seeing that as well. So an interesting stock at the resistance level. Need to see what it does. Uh, Srini asked how to find intraday stock. So see, at this point of time, I mean, as you know, we have done it 1 minute swing. So in due course, as we roll out new features as well, what we will do is that we will try to give such view for 15 minutes, 30 minutes. I think what we have decided is 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes additional thing that we will give it over here, basically, so that will be the point that that can help you to find some intraday stocks. But if you want to find some intraday stocks and you want to basically trade on that, I think options insights will be helpful. So that will I mean, but this will be restricted only to the FNO stocks. So all the cases now, say for example, if at all, just imagine that Nifty, now this is, I'm just giving you an hypothetical scenario, okay, that this HNS Nifty ends up retesting that and then it goes down. Okay, just imagine that this happens. So then you would know that the Nifty index might fall. Okay, if that falls, I mean, if that happens, then the way to think about this is that look out for the stocks which are near, which are near resistance or which are above resistance. Okay, or these are below support. Okay, so the way to think about it is that think of it this way. Okay, now say Zydus Life. Okay, you can see that 111% basically OI has increased on 1000. So what you might want to see is that Zydus Life, and you can see the 10-minute, 15-minute chart as well. Okay, so you can see that there was a big decline. So somewhere around its previous support zone, it has started to bounce back. Right now, it is showing that 1000 has a resistance, and there are hourly averages as well. So maybe there can be a pullback and it can again decline. So that is how you will be able to spot stocks. Now you can see that Indus Tower, okay, 350 had an important support that seems to be breaking. 340 now has an important support, okay, because over here you can see that 28 is 28% increases there. But you can see the stock in the tower, right? And in this tower may you can see that now this is an important resistance level which it has broken, right? So basically, as long as it is below this resistance level, it can fall further. So you might want to keep that as a stop loss, or you can see that 340 has an important support because over here, put writers are there. So maybe the break of this low, which is at 339.50, that would lead, that will also make the 340 put shorters lot more nervous. And you would see that this was an important support, even that is broken and it is sustaining on the downside. So then maybe this can be the reversal and you can look to short it for the lower band and so on. So basically, these are the so this screen can help you to scan the stocks. Apart from that, there are so at this point of time, as I mentioned, we have only hourly. But in this case, what you can do is that you can try and filter which are the stocks on the hourly chart. So let me do it FNO. Okay, FNO basket, which are crossing below the 10 SMA. Okay. So these are the stocks, which are below the 10 SMA or crossing below the 10 SMA over here, as you can see. So you might want to see if you're able to find anything or no over here. Okay. So yes, I mean, this can be the other thing that can help you, or basically all the MACD and all those things on the hourly where there is a bearish crossover, you can see all those things. So at this point of time, we have only restricted it to hourly. But as I mentioned, like when once we start rolling out new features in October, that time we will even come up with 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute as well. So that can help you to scan the intraday stocks. Okay. But this is what we have for now, honestly. For highly oversold stocks, how to think of how to check reversal. So DV, this, so let's see. Okay, let's try to scan some stocks and see which are the ones that are oversold and how to think about it. Now, say, so I'm trying to find the list of stocks whose RSI is below 20. Okay. Now, please see over here. I mean, HDFC Bank is popping up over here. That is because I mean, this we have to check in the database, because over here the split has happened. So this we need to handle it. But say, for example, something like Agrawal Industries, I think that is what the name is. So you can see that it is coming to an oversold zone, it is coming to an important support level. But now, if you want to wait for those confirmation, you will need to put the averages. Okay, see, I've put the Bollinger Band and I've put 40 period exponential average. Okay, so the way to think is that if at all it gives a positive daily close from the oversold zone, that can be the initial sign of the turnaround. But so over here we have restricted to not go below the hourly chart. But say, for example, if these are the oversold stocks, okay, and you want to analyze it in greater detail on the hourly chart. Okay, see, this is 15 minute, and in the 15-minute chart you can see that the 40-hour exponential average is not breaking, right? So breaking of the 40-hour exponential on the hourly chart will be first sign of strength. So once it breaks and sustains above that, then you would expect that this stock can probably move higher towards this hourly averages, and that's where maybe that might end up becoming a short term trade for you, or it can be a point where you can say that some sort of reversal is happening, because you have to go step by step, right? If 40-hour breaks on the upside, this will be the next level to watch out for, which is 812. If 812 breaks on the upside, then there are no major okay. So you can see that at every point till probably 820 levels, this stock has some resistance, right? So it is basically, once it starts sustaining above 820 levels or so, that's where I would tend to think that some sort of reversal could be happening, and I would tend to think that some bit of significant pullback can happen. That is because it is almost hitting its previous low, which was over here, right? And it is trying to bounce back from there. So then after, I'll have to go step by step and start thinking whether a bigger reversal is into play or no, and then I'll wait for the daily to come. But the point is that if I see on a lower time frame, okay, so basically this is the zone that I feel is a resistance, which is say somewhere around this 812 to 820 zone. So yes, I mean, see, the idea is not to give you the recommendation, but I'm just telling you how to process it. Now it is say GVKPIL, GVKPIL. Okay, this is also in oversold. This is a bad stock. I mean, 3 rupee stock. So let's take Marksons, because that is a decent stock. Okay, it is at 18, right? Marksons. Okay, let's go to a little higher time frame, and over here you can see, understand one thing. If the stock is very much trending, then on some time frame it will be respecting the averages very nicely. Okay, so over here you can see, I mean, the earlier stock was respecting 15 minutes very nicely. Now it is respecting 30 minutes very nicely. So on the 30 minutes, the 40-hour exponential breaking will be the initial signs of reversal, and then you can see how it unfolds, because over here already some positive divergence is now visible, right? So breaking about 20 will go lead to a move to 40. Breaking above 40 will be the first sign that a lower top lower bottom structure is also getting reversed, and the 40-hour is also getting reversed. So then this can lead to some sort of pullback in the near term. Then you can take a help of the higher time frame to find where exactly the pullback will be. Now you can see over here 40 was not held. So in this case, if this high breaks on the upside, then 40 will be the level to watch out for. And once 40 breaks, that's where this major decline that has happened, without any pullbacks, there will be a case of that getting reversed. Okay, so that is how you can identify stocks where they would be in oversold, and then a turnaround can happen. Which combination is helpful? RSI, RMI, which time frame can be helpful? So as I mentioned, DV, I mean, which time frame can be helpful? You need to see which time frame the stock seems to be following nicely. Okay, one stock we saw was 15 minutes, where it was declining after resisting 40 hour. But for some stock it was 30, for some stock it might be 1 hour as well. So you need to see, and the thing is that what time frame do you want to trade for. That is something that is very important for you to figure out. I mean, if you are looking for a slightly positional bounce, then you might want to take a combination of hourly, daily, and so on. But if your time horizon is say 2 days to 1 week or something like that, maybe you can use the combination of 15 minutes and 30 minutes chart. So what time frame is it? I mean, that is more important, and that is where you need to stick. So, and also, of course, the lower the time frame you go, the higher will be the volatility. So it depends on a lot of factor about the time frame. Okay, I mean, you basically need to figure out what suits well for you. Maybe if you want to do it very fast, 15 minutes, 30 minutes is the case. But if you're not able to handle the volatility, you're not able to handle the emotions, I would recommend you to go on a higher time frame, master that time frame, then try coming level by level on a lower time frame. DV says example Sula Wines, Heikel, UBL. Okay, so fine. Let us compare one of them. Say Sula. So see in Sula also you can see that it has been falling from the 40-hour exponential average. Okay, there was some sideways consolidation over here, and then this was broken on the upside, right? So after that, we saw an up move. So you will always get some clue on the lower time frame, and that is what you need to see. Okay, that which time frame is it following? Now I would suspect that because it has been correcting. So see, you can see multifold things over here. One is the gap area, and maybe on the daily chart there will be some average. Yeah. Now see gap area plus the 20-day, 40-day average, right? So this was the important resistance level. So if this bit of 4 5 candle consolidation broke on the upside, the logical way to think was that maybe this gap will be filled, and then we need to be neutral and see what happens, right? But what has happened over here, up move and then in correction. And typically, this is my observation, that when the stock is in a downtrend, usually divergence occur, and only then the stock bottoms out. Now you can see over here that because it was declining, we have not seen any divergence yet. So what might happen is that it might go down, you know form some divergence over here, and maybe only then it might end up doing some important pattern or something. So that will help you to get some clue, and this can well end up being a double bottom as well. But you need to see. Okay, the idea is you need to see, you should not speculate, and you will have to go step by step, and always think of the big picture, that from 650, I mean 690, it has been falling relentlessly, right? So think of with this, that what happens if we end up seeing a reversal on a bigger time frame, right? So on a bigger time frame, if these averages are broken on the upside, then you might end up seeing these levels or these levels, right? So always think of it from the big picture, rather than trying to be pennywise pound foolish, that let me try to preempt and buy 5 rupees lower from the current levels, and then try to play for that. You can always do that, but in that situation you need to take care of the position sizing. I mean, when it is something like that and I want to punt around, I wouldn't put 100% of my capital. What I mean, if I want to say allocate 50,000 to Sula, just for an example, then I might only allocate 5,000, 10,000 for this, and then wait for other confirmations. The other confirmations will be like closing above the hourly averages, which if this was the case, okay. Now, if in the current context, I would wait that let the RMI come to the bullish crossover, I'll give that some weightage. Then I'll wait for the averages to break. So that way, you will have to find some process. Okay, I am just telling you my thought process, but you might have to find some thought process. Uh, uh, I mean, you might have to find some process as to how you can position in the stock. Says Uh, actually, the question got placed in three charts about assessing oversold. Actually, the question, I sorry, I did not get this question. He said, actually, the question got placed in three charts about assessing oversold stocks for reversal. I'm sorry, I did not understand this question. Yes, market psychology. I mean, yeah, we were running this offer for a while, but now we are not doing that. I'm glad you got that offer. While presenting the chart, not clear. Slide zoom in is required, I think. Okay, Mahesh, I'll take this feedback. I'll try to do it. I mean, zooming in. So, yeah. Vishwajit says, I have seen video of Mohit sir where he tells in stock option only short build up. It's seen long build up and so see Vishwajit, that is one particular strategy, okay, which Mohit ji has discussed and it has worked very well for him, and many of the users have also appreciated that strategy. Now what I now I was teaching the other gentleman how to screen stocks for intraday. Okay, basically wherever the open interest is very high and it is coming near support or near resistance level, that is something that can help you to filter out the stocks, and then you might have your own way to analyze based on technicals or however, I mean, price action or technical indicators, whatever you follow, that needs to be followed. Okay. Also, I try to save indicators and later when I loads back, example searching for ADX breakout. Okay, I think that is a feedback that you're trying to give. So DV says once you share oversold FNO stocks rebound sharply. Oh, I reached around record levels. It happened recently in Cipla. Yeah, that's right. And in fact, if I remember, Cipla had a range breakout or some pattern it had. I had seen that. So if you see Cipla, basically this was the range. Okay, you can call this as an inverse HNS also, which was there. Okay, that has broken out. Now the interesting part is that it is probably retesting on the hourly chart. It is at the 40-hour average as well. Okay, this can be an interesting setup. It's like breakout retest, RMI also pulling back. If there is a bullish crossover and we see an up move, probably this can be an interesting stock to see. So yeah, fine. I think acha, no, okay, so there was a typo error, but actually Cipla had a, good this thing setup. So anyways, thanks a lot. I mean, we have run out of time. It's 11:47 today. Let's meet up on Friday, okay? And from Monday onwards, as I assured you, I mean, there will be a regular session. Hopefully, there should be no unforeseen events. If at all that happens, only then I won't be available. Else, we will make this now once again regular, and most of the issues are also sorted with the software now, so you should be able to use much more better, and there ideally should there I mean there should not be any breakdowns basically, because we have tested a lot of scenarios in this past 1 or 2 weeks, and we are fairly confident of uh, uh, we are fairly confident that this should be very much stable now. Okay, so thanks a lot for all your support all this while. Now you should see the best of the strike in the coming months, and as I assured you, from October month onwards we'll start rolling out new features as well, so watch out for this space. Okay, thanks a lot and see you on Friday.